Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and Open Mic is the show where it's just open forum discussions, the entire show for an hour. I'm so glad you guys are joining me here today for this. Of course, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. On the John Campea Show in the afternoons, we save a little bit of time for live questions, but I know you guys love live questions. I love taking live questions, so that's what we do here on Open Mic. So yesterday, big stuff going around. The Avengers Infinity War embargo lifted. Somebody asked me where I thought the Rotten Tomatoes meter would be. I landed on 88%. As of right now, it's at 87%, which is right around where I think it should be right now. Like I said, I love the movie, but to me it's not, I don't think I put it in my top three. Like out of the 19 MCU films, I don't know that it makes it into my top three. But it's definitely up there. So around 87% is right around where I was figuring it was going to come. But anyway, lots of stuff to talk about today. So let's not waste any time. Let's go right to it. And the first, wait a second, maybe I should bring up the questions. Okay, and the first question today is coming to us from Alexander Helmer, who writes, how is Peter Dinklage in Infinity War? I'm not going to say anything about his role. I'll just say I liked Peter Dinklage in the movie. But that's as far as I'm going to go. No spoilers out of me. I'll just say that I liked Peter Dinklage. Quick reminder to everybody, the full open 2-hour-long Avengers Infinity War spoiler discussion where we all get to just talk totally openly about Avengers Infinity War is on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. East Coast time. So that's when we're going to do it. And I'm going to be joined by my lovely wife, Anne. Anne is going to be joining me for that review. So hopefully you guys will come along for it. And we'll just talk totally openly about Avengers Infinity War for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe even a little bit more if we want to. We can't go too late because Anne and I are going to go see Stomp. I really love Stomp. We're going to go see Stomp that night. Okay, so anyway, yes, I liked Peter Dinklage in the movie. Let's see. Andy A. Hernandez writes, have a glorious Rusev Day. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you remembered Rusev Day. And a happy Rusev Day to you and all of my international friends as well. Adam Douglas writes, for Mount Rushmore of animation studios, besides Pixar and Disney, what other two studios belong? Suggestions: DreamWorks, Illumination, Studio Ghibli, Warner Brothers, Sony Pictures, Laika, Artman, and Blue Sky. I would have to go... Well, you know what? I mean, a lot of people would scream Laika and Studio Ghibli, and I get it. But I've got to put DreamWorks up there. I just think How to Train Your Dragon series is just that good. That series is great. I love it. One or two of the Shrek films, not so much, but a couple of the Shrek films are like all-time classics to me. On top of that, I mean, so I got to put DreamWorks. DreamWorks has got to be one of them. So then it comes down to Laika or Studio Ghibli. Now, Laika, you got a couple of films that are really solid. You got Kubo and the Two Strings. I'm not terribly big on Coraline. A lot of people love Coraline. I'm going to admit I don't like it as much as most people. One of their films that I like more than most people is Box Trolls. I thought Box Trolls was terribly underappreciated. I thought Box Trolls was terribly underappreciated. Paranorman, that's it. Paranorman was clever. I like Paranorman. But then you go over and you start talking about Studio Ghibli, and then you're talking about, Howl's Moving Castle. You're talking about, I keep wanting to say the Song of the Fireflies, The Grave of the Fireflies, which just devastates you. I mean, if you haven't watched Grave of the Fireflies yet and you decide to watch it, have a big bottle of alcohol somewhere close, and then make sure you have no plans for this for a couple of days after it, because you're literally going to want to sit in your house alone, turn off the lights, and just feel miserable for a few days. I know that's a weird thing to say about a movie, but it just sucks the spirit out of you. And it's a brilliant movie, but it just sucks your willingness to live out of it. I mean, it's so depressing. It is so depressing. My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke. I mean, you got a lot there. So I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go Ghibli and DreamWorks. I'll go Ghibli and DreamWorks will round out. Obviously, Disney and Pixar are up there. Then I'll round out the other two spots with Ghibli and DreamWorks is what I'll round it out with. Good question, Adam. All right, next one comes to us from Anthony Cullen, who writes, new Archer tonight. God, I had something for this. I love Archer so much. A buddy of mine introduced me to Archer. Now, I saw, previews for Archer when it was first coming out. I honestly didn't think it looked like anything special. So I just skipped it. So then about midway through season 2, a buddy of mine introduced me to Archer. And right from the very first episode of season 1, I laughed myself sick. Simpsons, Family Guy will always have special places in my heart. But for whatever reason, Archer just kills me. It is my favorite animated show. It's brilliantly done, so quick. The humor is so clever and sharp. The characters are great. I love Archer, and it feels like it's been so long since I've watched a new episode of Archer. So I'm very glad it's back. You know what? I may even skip it for a month. I might wait till there's 3, 4, or 5 episodes that I can sit down and binge at once because the show goes by so fast. So yeah, I'm you and me both, man. I'm so dying to watch Archer. Kyle B writes, I got the Infinity War ending spoiled. I'm sorry about that, man. I got the Infinity War ending spoiled me by some no-life a-hole. Can you please tell me that there are more surprises that I can look forward to? I'm kind of bummed. Look, I don't know how many of the surprises you had spoiled for you. I will tell you there are a ton of surprises. There are many very good surprises in the movie. So if it's just the ending you had spoiled for you, don't worry, there's still more to come. But again, it's hard for me to answer that since I don't know how many got spoiled for you, but all I can say is that there are a lot of surprises in the movie, so I think you're still going to be surprised a couple times through the film. All right. K.W. Garrett writes, I found a copy of 1941 Forbes magazine. The cover says, Citizen Kane, Rosebud is name of his sled, and Wizard of Oz, it's all a dream after tornado. I know, right? I'm going to get over it, but I am still so disgusted with Forbes. I'm so disgusted with them that they could be that. Because they're either incredibly stupid or they're incredibly vile. It's one of the two. Like 5 hours before the embargo even drops, just putting out an article that says, hey, here's a list of all the major spoilers in Infinity War. If you don't want to know the spoilers, that's on you. Never mind the fact that they just armed all the trolls with all the spoilers, who then proceeded to go around and copy and paste the spoilers on every chat board everywhere to ruin it for people. That's on Forbes. Forbes doesn't get away. Oh no, we put a spoiler warning on it, so if you read the article, that's not our fault. Yeah, it is. It's on you. Because everybody who got all their information and then went around and spread it and ruined it for other people, that's on Forbes. Fuck Forbes. Anyway. It is crazy. And you know what the funny thing is, it's not the first time they've done it. They owe an apology to the film fan community. They owe a massive apology to the film fan community. But they won't. Ben Rayner writes, any The Office moments that made you emotional? The song tribute the employees sung to Michael in Last Dundies made me cry. Also have a theory that Steve Carell didn't know that that was going to happen. Oh, it's possible. To me, the things in movies, television that really hit my heart and really get me choked up are extreme demonstrations of friendship and loyalty. Those are the things that get me. Puppies dying, yeah, that moves me too. But honestly, it's extreme. That's why one of the only 4 or 5 films in my life that I've ever cried at is the ending of My Best Friend's Wedding. And that sounds like a stupid film to have as one of the films that you cry at. But at the end of My Best Friend's Wedding, Julia Roberts is there. Spoiler alert, by the way, but this is a 20-year-old movie at this point. Julia Roberts she fails to win her best friend. It's like, because she realizes her best friend, who's a dude, is getting married, and she realizes she loves him. And she tries to win him, and she doesn't. And by the end of the movie, she's at the wedding, and she's happy for him and everything, but she's she's hurting, you know? And throughout the movie, I think it's somebody who works with her back home at her home city, who's a gay dude, who's a regular in the film. She calls him because she just needs to talk, you know? Like, it's the ending of the movie. She's happy for her friend, but she's hurt still, you know, and she's trying to deal with it. So she calls her friend to talk. And then as she's talking to him on the phone, she looks up and she realizes that he had gotten on a plane. When he found out what happened, that she didn't get the guy, he got on a plane. I'm getting chills thinking about this. He got on a plane, flew out to where she was, so he could be there because he knew that she was going to need a friend. And that killed me. That crushed me. And I wept because the extreme demonstrations of loyal friendship kill me. And that really got me. So anyway, getting back to the thing about The Office. There's an episode, and you guys have heard me mention this, but I think it's the most emotional I've ever gotten at The Office. And it's an episode where Pam is having she gets to go to her first show and put up her art. And it's a big art show, but she had a booth, and it was the first time she went out to put up and display her art. And throughout the episode, no one shows up. No one from the office shows up. Nobody she knows comes and shows up to see her art. And right as the day is about to end, and she's getting ready to take her pictures down, Michael Scott shows up. Clueless, insensitive in many ways. His heart's in the right place, but he's so completely clueless. Michael Scott shows up. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it. And Pam sees him show up, and he's like, "Oh man, am I late?" And she's like, and he has such legitimate enthusiasm for her. He goes, "You drew these?" Like, he's just freaking out. Like, that's amazing. And he even points to one. He goes, "How much?" And she's like, "What do you mean how much?" He goes, "Well, how much to buy it? I need to buy it. I need to hang this in the office. You drew a picture of our office." And she gets so overwhelmed when she felt so alone and so abandoned by everybody, and then he showed up. You know? It's like Peter in the Deadpool 2 trailer. Some heroes are born, some heroes just show up. Michael showed up. And that meant the world to her. And that, to me, will always probably be the best moment of The Office. The Pam and Jim wedding is also an all-time classic. Some people even argue you could have ended the series right there. The Jim and Pam wedding episode will always be all-time classic, but that moment when Michael showed up, brilliant. I know it's on television, but brilliant filmmaking. Brilliant. The way they orchestrated it and set it up, and they really caught the emotional punch of it. I could talk about The Office all day. So anyway, let's move on here. The next one comes to us from Senior Rice and Beans, who writes, do you find Alvarez/Lee to be threats to Khabib? No, not even remotely. Not even remotely. I mean, look, they're both impressive. Lee in particular, I think, is very impressive. But neither of them have the style that will match up stylistically with Khabib. I mean, I really don't see anybody in that division. There are a couple of other weight classes, one above, one below, that would provide some very interesting challenges to him. But honestly, I don't see Khabib losing for a while. And, you know, some people in his last fight in which he won the title were like, oh, he didn't finish that guy. Maybe he's not so impressive. I'm like, are you kidding me? That dude he fought was on a 8 out of 5 fight win streak, and 8 out of his last 9. He was the number 11 ranked fighter in the world, and Khabib bitched him for 5 rounds. Just dominated him for 5 rounds. The best thing you could say about the other guy was he survived. If that's the best, the number 11 ranked guy in the world with a 5-fight win streak and 8 wins out of his last 9 fight, and the best you could say is he survived, that's how dominant Khabib is. And I don't see anybody posing that much of a threat to him. I really don't. Gojira King writes, Whatever happened to that movie, The Prototype from 2013? I remember seeing a teaser trailer, and that was it. Never heard about it again. Is this common? Yeah, it's more common than you think. It was never really a movie. It was like a movie in the making, and I think the Prototype trailer was in and of itself a prototype. I think that trailer was more like a concept. I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time. It's been years since I've thought about the Prototype. But I think, and I could be dead wrong about this, I might be thinking of another film, but I thought that the trailer for Prototype wasn't in and of itself a prototype. I think it was just a sizzle trailer that was put together to try to spark interest in getting the movie done. And that's not terribly unusual. But it never went anywhere. I never saw anything from it, but maybe you guys know of its fate. Jump into the comments section, share it around. That's why we got a film fan community here. Let's see. Luke1234 writes, where did it go? There he is. What would be your recommendation to someone who wants to start playing World of Warcraft? Could World of Warcraft be too overwhelming with too many options? I want to play. Here's the thing. World of Warcraft has a lot of options and a lot of control. Like when I had the keyboard mapped out for it, like every key was taken up. Like every key had a function on a keyboard. Forget a game control, like on a keyboard, like every key was mapped, right? There's so much you can do. However, you can also play very simple. And I would say, you know what? Don't be intimidated by it. Launch it up, choose your race, choose your class, give yourself a little name, pick your side, and then just go do some low-level grinding, you know? Just go into the forest that's right beside the castle and just kill foxes and whatever it is that's there. It's been a while. Just grind that out, and little bit by little bit, you'll learn the intricacies of the game. But honestly, World of Warcraft is a lot like poker. You know, they always say about poker, it's a game you can learn in 10 minutes, but it takes a lifetime to master. World of Warcraft is a game you can pick up the basics of it pretty quick, and you can be playing the game pretty quickly, but then as you go, you'll get better and better and better at it, and you'll learn all the intricacies and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's a lot to it, but you can start very simply. So I'd say just dive in. Just dive in and start playing, and you'll figure out the rest as you go along. That's how I learned, and it's the best way to do it. Senior Rice and Beans writes, ever ask Anne for her opinion on viewer questions? No. Mostly because Anne is never here when I'm doing the show. So when I'm starting the John Campea show, as I'm running around getting the lights set and getting the camera turned on and all that kind of stuff, that's usually about when Anne leaves for work. So she's not here. And then when I do the John Campea show at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, she's not here. She's not home from work yet. She doesn't get home till like 6:30 or 7 because she's a bigwig at Hasbro. That's what happens. So, no, but she's going to be taking viewer questions on the spoiler review of Avengers Infinity War on Sunday. Make sure you guys join us for that. All right. 1234, Luke1234 writes, is RoboCop so bad it's good or just bad? You know, I don't think RoboCop is terrible. It's not good. I don't think it's as awful as some people make it out to be, but it's not good. And again, I don't believe in that saying, so good it's bad. That's not a real thing. That's not a real thing. But no, I just think RoboCop is a poor movie. I don't think it's all-time epically bad. I don't think it's the train wreck that some people make it out to be. Personally, I think there's some redeeming value in it. So I just think it's a bad film. But no, I wouldn't say it's so bad it's good, because I don't believe in that. Phil Lee writes, who do you for in the Stanley Cup Finals? Leafs or a team that will give you the cup for a day? Picks with you in the cup on NHL site to prove it as well. Leafs. It's not going to happen. And remember, guys, when the Boston Leafs series started, I said Boston in 7. And here we are. Game 7 is today. I'm going to be screaming my guts out. I'm going to be an emotional mess. I'm just going to be an emotional mess. But I believe the Boston will win. They got the home ice advantage. They're just the better team. But oh my God, if Toronto wins, it'll be the first time in forever that they actually win a playoff series. I'll be losing my mind. But no, I will always take the Leafs. I can go to the NHL Hall of Fame anytime and get a picture with the Stanley. You can go to Toronto, go to the NHL Hall of Fame, and you can take your picture of the Stanley Cup. I can do that anytime. I can't take it home for a day, but I would rather the Leafs win. It is something that has never happened in my lifetime. The Leafs winning the Cup, the Leafs even getting to the Stanley Cup Finals has never happened as long as I've been alive. And may never happen while I'm alive. So I would definitely take the Leafs. Curtis Lopez writes, I say Disney bans Forbes from all their press events, screenings, and premieres. I'm not inclined to disagree with you. I mean, what Forbes did was some first-rate bullshit. Movie fans should shun them. I mean, really, for what they did. But again, something I mentioned yesterday was it's difficult for me to say that definitively, yes, Disney should ban Forbes. Because I know a couple people that work at Forbes, and they're good people. And, they work on the entertainment side. Not whoever this jackal was that wrote this article. But you can't even just blame the dude who wrote the articles because Forbes published it. Forbes published it. So that's on them. But, I mean, it's definitely... Look, I guarantee you, at Disney, there's at least some discussions about what do we do about Forbes. Because that was some first-rate bullshit that they pulled. And something needs to be done about it. Something needs to be done about it. John De Silva writes, said Leafs in 6 was wrong. Game 7 still staying with them. I know you are too. No, I'm not. I called Boston in 7. I mean, I'm a live and die Leafs fan. That doesn't mean I cloud my judgment. I'm cheering for the Leafs to win, but I've said from the beginning, Boston in 7. But I am cheering for them, obviously. Said Leafs in 6 was wrong. Game 7 still staying with them. No, you are too. As you are probably aware, Toronto needs something to smile about due to recent tragedy. Yeah, it's true. Toronto needs a good pick-me-up. And it's what makes it additionally shocking is that stuff like that just really doesn't happen in Canada. It's so rare that it happens in Canada. I remember when Ann and I, this was not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, Ann and I were back there. And what was dominating the news was that there was a murder in my town of Hamilton. Hamilton's population about 500,000 people. So there's a lot of people in Hamilton. And there was a murder. And that was dominating the entire news cycle the entire time that we were there. And it's like, that's a little different from living in Los Angeles, where it's like, I mean, the question isn't was there a murder? The question is how many murders today? So it's a little bit different. So yeah, Canada's not acclimated to dealing with stuff like that because it just doesn't happen there. Of course it happens, but so rarely. It's a different thing. But yeah, that just gives me yet another reason to hope that Toronto wins today, even though I do not believe for a moment that they will. Luke1234 writes, did Forbes break the embargo? Disney legal action? Well, here's the thing about embargo. Sometimes it used to be more a regular thing, but it doesn't really happen anymore. It used to be that, and they were still doing it a little bit when I first started covering movie press screenings, was that I would show up at the theater and they would literally have a contract that I had to sign. Just a simple one-page thing that basically says, I agree that by going in to watch this movie, I'm not going to post any reviews until such and such date. And I'd have to sign it. They haven't done that in a long time. I cannot remember the last time I had to do that. So technically speaking, there's no contract per se. There is a verbal agreement. I mean, there's an understood agreement, but there's no real legal recourse to, if somebody breaks embargo, there's no real legal recourse that you can take. What you can do if you're the studio, say, well, look, we trusted you. We said, hey, you're coming to our screenings. There's an embargo. Please respect the embargo. And you decided to ignore it. Therefore, we are going to decide to not trust you anymore and not invite you to these things. It's tough because Forbes is a big trade. And if you're a studio, you want the big trades covering your films. But you got to do something. The fact, and remember, Forbes didn't put up a review. Their thing about with all the spoilers wasn't the review. There are two different things. The review was after the embargo. The article, that's just, hey guys, here's all the spoilers for Avengers Infinity War. That was put up 5 hours before the embargo even lifted. So technically it wasn't a review. But again, the callousness of it all is just shocking. But I don't really think there's any legal action they can take. It would be great if they could, but there's really nothing they can do on that. All they can do is take their personal action, which is, you know what? Forbes is no longer invited to our screenings or our premieres because they've proven to be untrustworthy. That's the only thing I can think of. Mauricio Roberto writes, hey, John, greetings from Brazil. Love your work. Well, thank you so much, Mauricio. I really appreciate that. Hope you guys are having a good time down there. Great. You have great MMA stock comes out of Brazil, man. Like, it's just some of the best fighters of all time come out of Brazil. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, it's actually bad to think of it that way, but, you think Canada, you think hockey. When I think Brazil, I think, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, man. I just instantly go to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu when I think about Brazil. Muse Tac Reviews writes, hey, John, watching Infinity War tomorrow, but haven't seen Black Panther. It's not absolutely necessary. It's not. You'll be okay. I would recommend it. If you have a chance to slip out and see Black Panther, it'll add a little bit of a dimension to it for you. But again, not completely necessary. You'll be fine watching the movie without it. But it's a good thing. You know how, like, when you buy a computer game for PC, it'll say minimum requirements and then recommended. Like, minimum requirements, 8 gigs of RAM, an i5 processor, a 920 video card. That's the minimum requirements. It's like, cool. So you're good. You can play the game. But then but recommended is an i7 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, a 1080 video card. So, like, you're fine. You can play the game. You can play the game if you've got this system, but you'll get more out of it if you have this. That's kind of how I feel about Black Panther going into Infinity War. You're fine without seeing it. You're fine. It'll heighten your experience of Infinity War a bit, though, if you did see it. So if you get a chance, do it, but don't sweat it too much if you don't get a chance to. All right. KHK Productions writes, after seeing Infinity War, would you say that your 3 movies to watch leading into Infinity War were accurate? Or would you alter your list now, having seen the movie? Yeah, so if I put out this video and said, hey, because somebody wrote me and said, hey, I've got limited time, what 3 movies do you most recommend I see in the MCU before seeing Infinity War? And I've got limited time, so I can't be 7, 8, or 9 movies, 3 movies. So I was like, okay. The first Avengers movie, because that lays the groundwork for everything. So the first Avengers movie. Civil War, because that gives you the state of where the Avengers are at right now, going into Infinity War. And then Black Panther, because a lot of the movie takes place in Wakanda. So that kind of becomes a key thing. Now, I said there's an argument to be made for swapping out Black Panther for Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy introduces us to all the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, but also goes more into what the Infinity Stones are than any other MCU movie. So there could be an argument for that. But generally speaking, yeah, after seeing Infinity War, I still feel pretty good that the 3 films you really should see, if you've got the option to, going into it would be Avengers, Civil War, and Black Panther. Strong argument to be made with swapping out Black Panther for Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'll stick with Black Panther on that. I still feel pretty good about that. Tinus Vlado writes, Venom movie does good. Venom is in Avengers 4 as Iron Venom. No, I don't think you're going to see them bringing up, forget the Iron Venom part. I don't think we're going to see Venom come into the MCU. I don't think they're going to do that, regardless of how successful it is. As a matter of fact, the more successful Venom is, the more emboldened I think Sony will be about just doing their own thing. The more successful that movie is, I think the more emboldened they will be about just doing their own thing. So that's how I kind of see that going. All right, and there's the jump that we've been expecting. Sorry, now I got to scroll back and find where we're at. Where was I? Okay, here we go. Work Aeronauts Awesome writes, or wow. Our aunts allis awesome. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading today. I was up till like 3 a.m. doing my companion video. Hey John, what if the Venom reveal in the trailer is the last 5 minutes of the movie or post-credit scene? That would be awful. Oh yeah, that would be awful. I mean, it would be awful if that was the first time we saw Venom and it was the last 5 minutes of the movie. However, there was that rumor going around that Hey, Venom's only in the last 5 minutes of the movie. Tom Hardy himself got on social media pretty quickly and shot that rumor down. So, I mean, it is possible that that scene where we see Venom in the trailer, it's possible that's a post-credit scene or that's the last shot of the movie. That's possible. But if that is the case, I'm sure we see Venom before that. Like I said, there was that rumor going around, but Tom Hardy got on social media, shot it down. He says Venom's in a lot more of the movie than that. So while it is possible that scene we see in the trailer is from the last 5 minutes of the movie, that doesn't mean we don't see more Venom earlier in the film than that. So that would be fine. But if that scene is in the last 5 minutes of the movie and that's the first time we see Venom's face, that's not so good. I just can't imagine any studio executive, like somebody over at Sony, thinking that's an okay idea. Thinking, oh yeah, we'll just have Venom show up at the very end and fans will be fine with that. I just can't imagine that they would think in a million years that that would be okay. Okay, let's move on here. Ali Hussein writes, hey John, love your show. Thank you so much, Ali. Do you have any information or news if Lucifer is getting renewed for season 4? Seriously, people should watch that show. Lucifer is great. And I believe, I have to double check this, I believe I heard it did get renewed for season 4. I might be wrong about that, but I think it did. I mean, a simple Google search. So let me just take a look here. Lucifer season 4. I'm not seeing any. Oh, yeah. There seems to be some stuff here. Tom Ellis talking about a darker season 4, blah, blah. So I'm guessing, I thought I heard that it did get renewed. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I thought I heard it got renewed. And you're right. Y'all should be watching Lucifer. Lucifer's great. I love that show. Okay, Anthony R. writes, did you get my God of War Gentle Giant picks? I did. Those are some impressive stuff. And Ray is coming over here tomorrow. So I think I'm going to ask him to bring his PS4 and let me borrow his PS4 so I can get God of War and play it. He's coming over here because we're going to go see Avengers Infinity War again tomorrow night. By the way, for any of you who are in the Los Angeles area, me and Ray, we're going to be at the AMC Burbank 16 tomorrow night to watch Avengers Infinity War. So if you see us, make sure you come by and say hi. And thanks for sending those pictures, man. Shane Palmer writes, good morning, John. Just finished my undergraduate capstone presentation on NGOs in Brazil. It was a lot of work, but I get to celebrate with your amazing show and Infinity War. Well, thank you so much, Shane, and congratulations. By the way, no small feat. No small feat. And what a great way. You know, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because I've been having people writing me saying, John, I don't know what to do. Infinity War's opening, but I got finals this weekend. And people are trying to organize their lives around going to see Avengers Infinity War. And it is a big spectacle for sure. So congratulations big on that. And congratulations on being able to go get that behind you so you can now go and watch Infinity War without too much on your mind. And thank you so much for being here on the show and for those kind words, Shane. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot for being here. All right, Justin Ward writes, seriously, don't bother with Batman Ninja. It's so bad. Well, here's the thing. So last night, I did my 2 hour and 15 minute companion video. And it took me to midnight. But then I had to render it out and upload it before I went to bed. So that gave me an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours to kill. So everybody was telling me, watch Batman Ninja. So I watched Batman Ninja and I'm doing a review of it. I'm going to have a review for Batman Ninja up in a couple hours. So keep your eyes open for that. But thank you for your 2 cents, Justin. I know what you're talking about. Anurag P writes, due to Forbes, I'm avoiding all comment sections. Oh no, absolutely. I even recommend to people hey, come watch the live show. You may not want to be in the comments section though, because you can't stop anybody. If some troll, pardon me. I'm going to sneeze again. If some troll wants to show up on YouTube chat, we're seeing it all over YouTube right now. There's nothing you can do to stop someone from just diving in like a kamikaze and dropping a spoiler because they're pathetic losers. They have no life. And the only time they feel any sense of accomplishment in their loser, zero accomplishment lives is by trying to ruin things for other people. And you can't stop them. So that's going to happen. So it sounds terrible to say, but even if I had 10 moderators, they would drop a comment, and it would take a few seconds for a moderator to respond to it. So you might just want to avoid the chat board. And if you feel good in the chat board, great. But if otherwise, you might want to look away from the chat board because it's just dangerous. It's dangerous. And thank you so much for that, Forbes. Thank you. Anthony R. writes, I was able to avoid spoilers so far. Good for you, Anthony. But the Forbes article was taken down for a few hours yesterday before being mysteriously brought back. Yeah, I saw some people saying they took the Forbes article down. And then I looked, it's like, no, it's still there. Was it actually down? Even if they took it down, it's too little too late. The damage was done. The information got disseminated. So again, thanks, Forbes. You bunch of fucking idiots. Let's see. Jared Gold writes, can't believe Forbes fed the trolls. Avoid all chats. Yep, again, thanks so much, Forbes. You guys are real winners. Thanks so much. ZCM writes, what's the upcoming Disney movie, Artemis Fowl? It's based on a young adult novel series that I have never read, but I think it has something like 12 Fowl books. I think it has like, I don't know, maybe 8, maybe 9 books. The first one came out in 2001. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 novels in it. So anyway, it's about this kid, and his father goes disappearing. And I think his father was like one of the world's greatest thieves. Or I don't know a lot about the series, right? But it's about this kid, Artemis Fowl. And he's a brilliant kid. He's a prodigy. And his father goes missing. And I think it's like magic nymphs or fairies kidnap his dad. And the kid's got to find him. Again, I've never read the books. I don't know a lot about it. But it's based on apparently a pretty successful novel series. And they're kind of hoping that this could be the next big franchise. They're hoping it could be the next Harry Potter. And everybody's looking for that next big franchise. And maybe this one has some potential. Again, I've never read them, so I don't know for sure. But that's the most information that I got. All right. John Durig writes, went to my AMC in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and the manager told me AMC does not do pre-assigned seats anywhere. Is this true? No, that's not true at all. Either he misunderstood your question, or maybe you worded the question wrong, but that is absolutely false. What that dude told you is absolutely false. For instance, my AMC right here. Actually, there's 3 AMC theaters within about a 10 or 12 minute walk of me here, and all of them are pre-assigned seating. Every theater, every screen, pre-assigned seating. So, and I was at AMC theaters in Kansas, pre-assigned seating. So, like I said, he's either flat out lying to you, or you mispresented the question, or he misunderstood the question. Those are your only 3 options. He's either lying, you didn't phrase the question right, or he didn't understand the question correctly. Because absolutely AMC theaters have pre-assigned seating. I'm not saying every single AMC theater does, no, but AMC theaters have pre-assigned seating. Absolutely they do. N8V Pride 616 writes, have you checked out Black Mirror yet? I've only ever seen 1 episode of Black Mirror. And that was the one where they're like living in the Matrix. The 2 girls meet and they fall in love and they're kind of in the Matrix thing. Apparently everybody says that's like the best episode of Black Mirror. So I feel good that I've watched that. And that like won some awards too, that episode. But that's the only one that I've seen so far. I haven't watched any of the others. Man with the Plan writes, really sad that Forbes just put all the spoilers out there. Being someone who's trying to avoid spoilers, stunts like that make it hard. And again, you're going to get clueless people like Forbes who'll go, well, then don't read the article. That's not the point. I'm sure Man with the Plan didn't go there and read the article. But you know who did? The people who want to ruin the movie for people. They read the article. They said, oh, Forbes is putting out all the spoilers? Great. And they dove in, got all the spoilers, and then went out and disseminated it everywhere. So thanks a lot, Forbes, for that. Yeah, it's hard to imagine that it went up the chain and people said, yep, this is okay to publish. Go ahead and do that. Anyway, morons. Eric Hoffman writes, "Hey, John, I'm a diehard Bruins fan, and considering you are a diehard Maple Leafs fan, I wanted to know your thoughts on Game 7. Best of luck to your team." Well, thanks so much. It's been a fun series, man. I mean, for it to come back, but, as I said, I called it from the beginning. I said, I'm very enthusiastic for the Leafs. They've made great strides, and I'm looking forward to next year. But the moment they got paired up with Boston, I said, Boston is not a good matchup for Toronto. I'm the biggest Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but that doesn't mean I'm blind. I called Boston in 7. And because they got the home ice advantage. That's a huge thing for them to go back and play in the Garden. And yeah, I still think Boston in 7. Of course, I'm going to be screaming my guts out cheering for the Leafs, but trying to step back from my fandom and just go, okay, realistically though, Boston in 7. So, and I think, look, I'm such a big fan of Zdeno Chara, but anyway, that dude's just like a monster. Anyway. So, but it's been a fun, entertaining series. And if the Leafs do lose tonight, I'm okay with it. I think they did great. I think they fulfilled their potential for this season. Next year will be better. And they gave us an entertaining series. I mean, what more can I ask for as a thing? And it reminds me of the Super Bowl this year. My team is the Patriots. I mean, they've already they're practically running out of fingers now to put on the rings. But I was cheering for the Patriots to win, but I said the Eagles are going to win that game. And the Eagles did. And you know what? I wasn't even all that terribly unhappy about it because it was a great game. The Eagles and the Patriots gave us a great Super Bowl. And would I have liked it if the Patriots won? Absolutely. But you know what? As a football fan, I was thrilled. And my team got to the Super Bowl again, which every other team in the league didn't do. And they gave us a great game. And, the moment Foles took over as quarterback and everybody's saying, oh, now the Eagles have no chance. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know how good Nick Foles is? And he went out there and proved it. So, so it has been a great series. So congrats to your Boston Bruins. Win or lose, congrats to your Boston Bruins on a really fun, entertaining series, man. Ali Hussein writes, we finally found the one person who can't beat Dominic Toretto, or who can't beat Dominic Toretto from Fast and Furious. It's Peter from Deadpool 2. I think you meant we finally found the one person who can beat Dominic Toretto. Peter, he's just going to show up. Peter will show up and then he wins. So there you go. It's still amazing to me how much of an internet sensation Peter from the Deadpool 2 trailer has become. There are websites. I'm seeing t-shirts out there now. He's obviously got his own Twitter feed now. It was like a stroke of marketing genius on this Peter thing. It's great. The Halo Brony writes, little brother are seeing Infinity War in 5 hours before me. Screw him then. But, then this is what I do. If you're a little brother, let's face it, little brothers are dicks. I say this as a big brother. Big brothers are the coolest people in the world. Little brothers are dicks. So what I would do is I would block your little brother's phone number on your phone for the rest of the day. Block your little brother's phone number on your phone for the rest of the day. Because little brothers be dicks. And he's going to try to spoil it for you. I don't know your brother, but I don't need to know your brother. All I know is that he's a little brother. Ergo, he's a dick. So he's going to try to spoil the movie for you. Block his number on your phone. Do it now. All right. Ali Hussein writes, and all the little brothers are now terribly offended. You know it. You're dicks. You know you are. If you get a PS4, and big brothers are the coolest dudes in the world. If you get a PS4, you can even try Spider-Man. That looks awesome too. Yeah, I'm hearing pretty good things about Spider-Man. I don't have a lot of time to play console games. Anytime I usually do get to play games, I like to play them on PCs, but just because everybody is telling me to try God of War, that's why I'm going to try God of War. If I get a moment, maybe I'll check out the Spider-Man one too. But I'm not hearing nearly as many things about the Spider-Man game as I am about the God of War game. DVD78 writes, we all know Bret Hart is your favorite wrestler of all time, but which wrestler do you like more between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Steve Austin, he's best known for the persona, the badass, the Austin 316 and the shtick of Steve Austin, which was amazing. People overlook how great of an in-ring performer. He was a truly great wrestler. He was a great wrestler. as time went on, and even as he was getting more popular, he got a little bit more limited in his ability because his knees started to go and things like that. But he was still a terrific entertainer. But people forget how good of a wrestler he was. That being said, Shawn Michaels was just one of the best in-ring performers. He had great mic skills. He was great at all that kind of stuff, the D-Generation X stuff, yeah. But Stone Cold had the best mic skills. I mean, Stone Cold, The Rock, whatever, they were just on a different level. But as an in-ring performer, Shawn Michaels, he made you believe a little guy could fight The Undertaker. You know, he made you believe it. I've seen lots of other dudes fight Undertaker and never believed what I was watching for a second. Undertaker would squash this dude. But Shawn Michaels, because he was such a great in-ring performer, he made you believe he could fight The Undertaker. And so I'll probably lean towards Shawn Michaels. It pains. I love Stone. By the way, Stone Cold Steve Austin has a great podcast. I don't listen to it regularly, but I've heard like 7 or 8 different episodes when he's had really interesting guests on. And he's a really good podcaster. Stone Cold Steve Austin's a really good podcaster. So a lot of good stuff there. Okay. Ali Hussein writes, have you seen Westworld Season 2 premiere? Thoughts? No, I haven't seen it yet. Going to probably do it this week sometime. I was supposed to be in Vegas right now at CinemaCon, but something came up. I'm not going to go into it. Something came up that kind of required me to stay here. So, which is fine because I get to do my show regularly now. And I'll get to watch Westworld Season 2 premiere now, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I'm hearing good things, but I haven't watched it yet. Let's see here. Kevin Komaki writes, today I turn 32 and see Infinity War tomorrow. So excited. Happy birthday to you, Kevin. And what a great birthday present. You get to see Infinity War the day after your birthday. That's great. So once again, Kev, happy birthday. And thanks for being here on your birthday, man. Thank you for coming and joining us and spending a little part of your birthday here with us film fans talking about movies. I appreciate that, dude. All right. Chua Sang writes, big fan, John. What philosophies do you live by? Most of the philosophies that I try to live by, and I fail at as much as anybody, the ones I try to live by are pretty traditional Judeo-Christian kind of values. Like I believe in the whole doing unto others kind of thing. One of the things I'm really trying hard to do, because I've failed at this a lot in my life, but is trying, and it's an old saying, but it is trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a minute. I've been trying to do that. I was talking to Ann about that. She and I were having dinner and we were talking about this stuff and, talking about things we want to do in the upcoming year. This is back before New Year's. And I said, one of the things I don't think I've done well in my life is, try to look at things from other people's point of view, but truly trying to put yourself in their shoes. Because points of view is one thing, and it's good if you can try to look at situations from another person's point of view. But to really try to put yourself in their shoes, understand because we as people aren't just points of view, we have different life experiences and everything. And I'm not going to go too deep, that's not what this show's for, but there's definitely the do unto others as you would want them to do to you. There's that guiding philosophy. But I've been trying, I wanted to this year, and I still fail at it a bunch, to, when looking at situations, not just look at it from another person's point of view, but try to walk in their shoes a little bit. It's a much deeper, much more profound kind of discussion that probably most of it goes over my head. But those are kind of philosophies that I try to live by. Fail at a lot, but try. Zizu writes, Disney should ban Forbes from all future premieres. I mean, again, that's kind of like a nuclear option. But, I mean, they got to do something. Something's got to be done. I guarantee you there were phone calls made. I guarantee you there were phone calls made between Disney PR people and Forbes saying, hey, what the hell? There had to have been. But we'll see. You're clearly not alone in that opinion, Zuzu, because a lot of people are saying stuff like that. Samantha Elliott writes, if strong relationships get you, please make time to finish watching *Halt and Catch Fire*. Every season gets better with such a beautiful end. Good to hear. You know what? It's funny because yesterday as I was eating lunch, I took a break to sit down and eat lunch. And when I eat lunch, I try to watch an episode of television. I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch the next episode of *Halt and Catch Fire*. And I got a little bit frustrated with it. I'm up to the point where they're now home from Comdex in season 1. And Mackenzie Davis just started up her new company, Mutiny. And I didn't like the episode. But I'm having more and more people tell me to push through. So I am going to push through. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to finish. I've started this series. I'm going to finish it. So I will keep going. Thanks for the recommendation, Samantha. Speaking of Toronto Maple Leafs, Ty Domi writes, "Hey, John, who is/was your favorite NHL brawler? Our favorite brawlers are subjective. Hit them with the filth." It's Ty Domi. It's Ty Domi. Edmonton had this great brawler named George Laraque. He was great, and that's his real name, George Laraque. I know this sounds like a wrestler's name, but George Laraque. And he was great. Marty McSorley played dirty sometimes, but he was a great enforcer. Marty McSorley was a great enforcer. Dave Semenko was a great enforcer. Often referred to as, people refer to him as Dave Cementhead. But I remember Dave Semenko. Hold on a second. Let me just look up this one little stat on Dave. Dave Semenko. Really, one of the neat things about Dave Semenko, and this was the thing, and this was the beautiful role of enforcers in the NHL. The enforcers aren't around very much anymore. But here was the great thing about enforcers. You know how in the NFL, they're always talking about protect the quarterback, they got to make rule changes to protect the star players and blah, blah, blah. And I agree with those, yeah. But back in the day of the enforcer in the NHL, like back in the 80s, early 90s, or 70s, 80s, early 90s, like in the 80s and early 90s when I was really into hockey, was when I was really getting into hockey, I should say. Wayne Gretzky, who is maybe the best professional athlete of all time, Wayne Gretzky never got injured unless it was from some fluke. Nobody ever took a run at Wayne Gretzky. No one ever took a run at, Brett Hull. And the reason being, particularly with the Edmonton Oilers, is you'd have a game going, shifts, Dave Semenko never gets on the ice. Dave Semenko's just sitting over there on the bench. This monster, Dave Semenko, sometimes referred to as Dave Cementhead. Dave was just sitting on the bench. And the moment somebody laid a body check on Wayne Gretzky, up gets Dave Semenko, leg goes over the board. Oh, look, it just so happens to be Dave Semenko's turn to have a shift. Isn't that curious timing that somebody just put a hit on Wayne Gretzky? And it just so happens that now it's Dave Semenko's turn to have a shift on the ice. And within about 30 seconds, Dave Semenko finds the guy that laid a hand on Wayne Gretzky and pounded them into oblivion. Now, you can talk about how archaic that may be, but the fact of the matter was they protected the superstars. And because of that, the superstars were allowed to play like superstars. Nobody took cheap shots at Wayne Gretzky. Nobody took cheap shots at the superstars. Because if you took a cheap shot at the superstar, the enforcer would come on the ice. And it's like, okay, you want to take a run at Gretzky? All right, but you better know that when you do, at some point in the next 5 minutes, Dave Semenko's coming on the ice. And he ain't coming on the ice to try to score a goal. He's coming out here for your head. And because that threat was always there, nobody took cheap shots at Wayne Gretzky. And so while the NFL is trying to implement all these rules to make sure people don't take cheap shots at their quarterbacks, guess what? If fighting was legal and you could have Stipe Miocic sign him to a contract for your NFL team so that if somebody took a cheap shot at your quarterback, guess what? Just so happens to be Stipe's turn to put on the helmet and come on the field, and Stipe comes out and pounds it into oblivion. Guess what? Ain't nobody's going to take a cheap shot at your quarterback anymore. And so while the NHL has phased out the enforcers and phased out the brawling and the fighting, you also see, not coincidentally, the superstars get cheap shotted as much as anybody, more than anybody else now. Sidney Crosby is constantly taking cheap shots. People are constantly trying to take shots at Ovechkin. Or people are constantly trying to take shots at McDavid. Because you can. Because you know why? There's no consequences anymore. There's no more enforcer. Ty Domi was great, clearly one of the best, and he was a Maple Leaf, so I'm big on that. But I might want to go the best enforcer of all time might have been Dave Semenko. I'll go with Dave Semenko. Sorry, that was a really long answer to a short question, but I just love talking about the enforcers. Josh DeRose writes, I second the motion of you doing a full rerun of Game of Thrones. It is something I mentioned that in the companion video. I mentioned that I have been toying with the idea of starting Game of Thrones from season 1, episode 1, and doing reviews of every single episode of Game of Thrones up until we get to the new season. It's an idea I had when I was at the last place that I worked, and we never actually did it there. But I've been thinking about doing that. I don't know that I want to commit the time to do it, and I don't know that it would get any views. That's the thing. I just don't know if anybody would watch it. But thank you for throwing in your 2 cents, Josh. That's something for me to keep in mind. All right, just got a couple of minutes left here. Dylan Foreman writes, hey, John, off the top of your head, what would be a good spin-off from Supernatural? My thoughts are Young Rufus and Bobby show. Love the show. Well, I mean, Rufus and Bobby are great, but I would want Bobby. I would want the actual actor. Because he's one of the things I love about Bobby. And I'm not big on prequel shows per se. I think they're doing that spin-off show with all the girls. And you know what? That one episode they did with the girls this season, I thought was really good. I remember they tried to do that spin-off of Supernatural a couple years ago too, and I watched kind of the pilot of it. I'm like, this isn't so good. But the one with the girls, I actually thought was pretty good. The Sisters of something. I can't remember the name they gave it. But I'm down for that. That, and I'd be totally down for a Crowley King of Hell spinoff. I'd totally be down for a Crowley King of Hell spinoff. I would totally love it. Let's see. Samantha Elliott writes, also love that Thanos... Oh, okay, good. It's not a spoiler. Also love that Thanos takes the lead in Avengers Infinity War, but does it still feel like an Avengers movie? Just checking. Yeah. It's still, I mean, you could call this movie Avengers Thanos. You could call it that. But they called it Infinity War, and that's fine. But yeah, it does feel like an Avengers movie. So you'll see when you get a chance to see the movie. Fair question, though. Ali Hussein writes, I'm watching Avengers Infinity War Friday. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you guys being able to go and see it. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Again, I don't necessarily, out of the 19 MCU films, and the vast majority of them are really good, I don't know that Infinity War cracks the top 3 for me, but it's up there. It's up there. It's a solid installment of the MCU. Again, I don't know that I put it in my top 3, but it's a solid installment of the MCU, and I think you guys are going to have a good time and you guys are going to enjoy it. But, you know, if you want to know some of the concerns I had about it, some of the things that I think were problematic with the film, go watch my review. I explain all the things that I liked about it and the things that I had some problems with. So go and see my review for that. Technovine writes, John, saw Infinity War today in Manila, and I'm shaken. Wow. Yeah, I mean, again, there's just so many. First of all, congrats on being able to see it earlier than most people. It's a shaking kind of movie, right? There's so much that happens in it. Almost too much. And too many characters, but so much happens in it with so many surprises. I mean, there were a couple of occasions that I literally went like this and turned to Anne, look back at the screen, look back at Anne. I mean, there's a number of those. That is one of the things the film does really, really well. Let's see. Borge Productions writes, in Infinity War, were the Black Order memorable semi-bosses? I talk about that in my review. Make no mistake, they are henchmen. The Black Order are henchmen, and they are treated as such. But I thought they did a good job with them. Yeah, I like the Black Order, and I know some people were kind of concerned about Black Order going into the movie, but I thought the Black Order worked. I really did. Let's see here. VPabe writes, hey, John, how are you? Just want to send my support. Oh, thank you so much, man. That's really considerate of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Javier Belma writes, hey, John, watching Infinity War tonight, Thursday at 0:01 eek, and the countdown has begun for everybody. Everybody's so psyched to see Infinity War. Ali Hussein writes, have you ever been in Sweden? I have never been in Sweden. Honestly, Never been in Europe. I'm Italian. I've never been in Europe. How terrible is that? Okay, Jake C writes, oh, and we have another big jump. Oh gosh, okay. Guys, I'm wrapping up the show now, but any of you who've sent in questions, do not worry. I'm gonna take those questions that I don't have time to get to. I'm gonna put them in the next companion video tomorrow morning, so don't worry about it. Your question will be answered. It'll be on tomorrow morning's companion video, guaranteed. All right, the final question today comes to us from Jake C, who writes, hey John, love the show. Thank you so much, Jake. Please humor my ridiculous question. If you stopped answering super chats for an entire week, how many hours do you think the resulting companion video would be? Oh my God. I'll say 6 hours. Probably about 6 hours. I usually have about an hour's worth of chat questions to catch up on per day. So like, the reason yesterday's was 2 hours and 15 minutes because I had actually gone a couple of days without doing one. So I will do one for tomorrow morning, and that will be all the made up questions from today's show that I don't get to and from the John Campea show that I don't get to. And so that will probably equal about a 1 hour companion video. So if I go an entire 7-day week, weekends are shorter. So it would probably be about a 6 hour companion video that I would probably have to do if that were the case. But thank you for asking. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, listen, guys, do me a favor. If you have not done so already, and you enjoy my programming, do me a favor and go on over and check out www.patreon.com/John Campea. There you'll get all the information about, number one, what it means to be a Patreon supporter and how to be a Patreon supporter. Number two, how being a Patreon supporter ensures that these shows stay on the air. And number three, what benefits there are to being a Patreon supporter, like our exclusive Facebook group, like audio-only versions of the podcasts. All that type of stuff is for our Patreon supporters. Go check it out, and then maybe you'll want to become a Patreon supporter too. And if you don't, that's totally fine. I'm just happy you're here being a film fan with us. All right, guys, so I got my review of Batman Ninja coming up in a little bit. We got the John Campea Show today at 2 o'clock. Maybe some other special stuff, too. Keep your eyes open. Stick around the John Campea channel here today. Make sure you go check out that Avengers Infinity War trailer I put up and all my other content as well. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.